but we still send them back year after year after year after year after year to sit around in Congress and do nothing for decades at a time. So yeah, which gets us to that election of 1800. They vote the Federalists out. Okay? The Federalists just became irrelevant. They passed the Alien and Sedition Acts, the Sedition Acts specifically, but the Alien Acts and the Naturalization Act, and they're like, oh no, you didn't, and they just vote them all out. Okay, so they vote them out. They elect Thomas Jefferson. The problem with that, because of the 1796 election resulted in Thomas Jefferson being the vice president, because they didn't want John Adams to be Thomas Jefferson's vice president, they kind of come up with a plan, and the plan is we'll have a certain number of people vote for Aaron Burr, and then we'll have a certain number of people vote for Thomas Jefferson, and as it turns out, they split the vote. It's a tie, and anytime there is a tie, or anytime somebody isn't a clear winner, the decision on who becomes the president of the United States goes to the House of Representatives. Well, in the House of Representatives, we've got a bunch of people who were just voted out of office, but don't actually leave office until March of the next year. So they're in what's known as a lame duck session. That is, they've been voted out of office, but they're still here, kind of a thing. So they're voting, they have to decide it, and half of them are like, Jefferson, he won. It was supposed to be Jefferson. It was never supposed to be Aaron Burr. It's Jefferson. And the other half are like Aaron Burr. Now, a couple of those people actually thought Aaron Burr was like the best choice for the job, and mostly they were just, you know, Thomas Jefferson's the wrong man for the job. We don't want anybody but Thomas Jefferson. Okay. And then Alexander Hamilton comes along and says, yeah, guys, I get it. I don't like Jefferson either. I think he's the wrong choice for this country, blah, 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 blah. But he's still significantly better than Aaron Burr. Aaron Burr is worse. So he essentially convinces Congress, the House of Representatives rather, to vote for the lesser of the two evils. Okay? I know a lot of people in this election cycle that's how they're voting. They're voting for the lesser of the two evils. I will freely admit, every single election I've ever voted in, I've picked what I've always described as the least bad option. Okay, which one sucks the least is the one I'm going to vote for, kind of thing. I've never voted for somebody that I thought, this guy's going to do it, he's going to fix it, everything's going to be great now because this person's in. I've never had that. Okay, I've always been like, I don't know, jaded and cynical. You know what? Things about this guy I like. There's a lot of things about this guy I don't like. Whatever. You know. And I started out voting with little punch cards. You punch a little hole through the name, and it punches out a little tab on the thing. The little tabs, by the way, are called chads. We didn't know what those things were called until the 2000 election. Florida screwed up their election. Anyway, and then we had fill in the bubbles, like a Scantron test to vote, and now we have touch screens. You know, a little thing, and you press the little button, you press the little thing on the screen, and it goes to the next one. And then it prints off the record, and you look at it and you go, yep, and then you hit the cast your ballot, and it goes. Anyway, sorry. So this is kind of going on and on and on for several weeks. For several weeks, we don't know who's going to be the next president of the United States. And they finally listen to Alexander Hamilton. Finally goes in and says, "Guys, look, really, Aaron Burr's really, really, really terrible, whereas Jefferson's just terrible." Okay, so they vote for Jefferson. Jefferson becomes the third president of the United States of America. We've had our first contested election, and the legal process by which we pick the president, if there is a contested election, worked. Okay, and then Aaron Burr becomes the vice president of the United States, and he will, I don't know, he will repay the favor to Alexander Hamilton by shooting and killing him 4 years later. So, yes, so our third vice president of the United States turns out to be the first one to kill someone while vice president of the United States. And to the best of my knowledge, the only vice president of the United States who's ever killed somebody. Just saying, you know. Aaron Burr, by the way, also cheated the people out of New York out of a great deal of money in a scheme to deliver fresh water to the city of New York. They were supposed to build a new pipeline to bring fresh water into New York City, and they didn't. They just kind of patched the old one when necessary, and then they took the extra money that they were paid to create the new pipeline and started a bank with it. The Bank of New York today is known as Chase Bank. So Chase Bank was actually started by Aaron Burr, and he used the money that he swindled the people out of New York to do it. And because he wrote the contract, he basically wrote in a legal loophole that allowed him to do it. So, so anyway, so we have the two candidates. We have Thomas Jefferson on the left and John Adams on the right, and so Jefferson becomes our third president, and almost immediately he's got himself a little problem. He finds out, and is quite honestly shocked to find out, that both President Adams and President Washington had been paying tribute to a group of pirates that operate along the Barbary Coast of Africa. Okay, today we call the Barbary Coast the North Africa, the coastline along from Tunisia and Libya. They were based out of Tripoli, which is the capital of modern day Libya. They've been paying them money to not attack our ships. Okay, it's kind of like paying the mob money, protection money, so that the mob won't ruin your business or break your stuff or break your legs or make it so that you have an unfortunate accident or whip you up a set of concrete loafers and drop you in some deep water or something. Okay, some Air Gaudis is what they started calling them in the 80s after Air Jordans, but Air Gaudi. Do you guys know who John Gotti is? Called him the Teflon Don for a long time, and then they finally convicted him of all kinds of crap, and then he died in prison. Never mind. Now his family has a reality TV show, right? Growing Up Gotti. It's like a bunch of, the family of a mobster, a real mobster. So I do notice that we have a lot of people that are like on their phone, and they seem really interested in whatever it is that they're doing, and they don't do things like take notes. Eventually you'll have a test, and some of the stuff will be on there,